Well, hi there, and welcome to ChessBase Workshop. My name is Steve Lopez. Thank you for clicking on that link and joining us. Apologize for the last ChessBase Workshop, the sound quality. It's hot as the dickens here in the eastern United States right now, and I was running a swamp cooler, an electric fan over a pan of water, and it was blowing right on the microphone. I didn't know it. So there was a slight hiss the whole way through that workshop. That wasn't you. That was my fault, and I do apologize for that. It is kind of a two-part workshop. We were looking at the the search mask, the game part of the search mask in both Fritz and ChessBase. Also applies to Rivka and to Hierarchs and to Shredder as well. If you do a search in a ChessBase produced program, you get a search mask that looks like this. What we're going to look at here, though, we were talking about stuff last time around, like make sure you spell the player's name right. Stuff like GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. If you spell a player's name wrong, you get nothing back. It's not the fault of the software. It's the fault of the user. And I'll tell you, if you do a search and you come up with nothing and you know that there should be games in a database. Now, I'm not talking about wild stuff where you just dreamed up a board position and you know it's got to be there, because a lot of times it's not. I'm talking about stuff where you're doing a very simple search for the games of, as we did last week, Garry Kasparov, and it pulls nothing up. A lot of times in those situations, the problem lies between the keyboard and the chair, not within the software. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. User error does occur. So that's what we're trying to avoid with these couple of ChessBase workshops, is trying to avoid those kind of frustrating user errors that cause you to not pull up the stuff that you want out of a database of games. What we're going to look at here, I've written about this a couple of times back in the days when I was writing ChessBase workshops. I have written about it for some other people outside of ChessBase Workshop, and I may even have done a video on this in the past. It's what I've dubbed the law of diminishing returns. It's kind of counterintuitive to some people that don't fully understand the way this stuff works, but it goes like this. You would think, and I've actually talked to you back when I did tech support on the telephone years ago for a ChessBase vendor, this came up from time to time. So I've had this conversation more than once. And that's where somebody goes, the more stuff I put into the search mask, the more games I should get back. That's incorrect. We touched on this last week. We talked about how ChessBase and Fritz and all the other programs that have this search mask do an AND search, not an OR search. If it was an OR search, you could type in Garry Kasparov, the Grob defense, black losses in the year 1847, and it would pull up a combined list of all of those things. You'd get all of Kasparov's games, you'd get all of the Grob games, and you get all those black losses from 1847 in one combined list. That's if it's an OR search. It would be all the games of Garry Kasparov, or all the games of the Grob, or all of Black's losses from the 1840s, whatever year I threw out there. And it would give you a combined list. ChessBase doesn't work that way. It works with an AND. If you're familiar with Boolean functions, there's AND and there's OR. What AND is if you type in Garry Kasparov and look for Grob positions, and you look for black losses in the year 1846, you have to have games that qualify on all three of those levels. It would have to be a black loss in the Grob in 1846 played by Garry Kasparov to pull up any games. Obviously, you're going to get bupkis, you're going to get nada, you're going to get zilch, zero, nothing, because it didn't happen. So you have to be aware that the more stuff you put into the search mask, the fewer games you get back as a result. And I will prove that to you right now. We'll start like this. First of all, we're gonna type Gary's name in. I've already done it under black. We have Kasparov G. We're gonna ignore colors. What this is gonna do, this search will give us all of Garry Kasparov's games. Period. All the games in the database Kasparov played. We click OK, and this is using Mega Database 2010. We get a whole passel of games here, and we scroll to the bottom of the list, and we find out there are 2,503 games in which Garry Kasparov was a participant. 2,503. Put that in the back of your mind for a minute, because now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the search mask. Garry Kasparov is black, but we're going to uncheck ignore colors. Now we're going to look for all of Garry Kasparov's games as black. We click OK. We have Kasparov here. Notice there are no G. Kasparovs in the white column. It's only G. Kasparov. We scroll down a list. 1,012 games. That's approximately half, a little less than half of the entire total that we had. Oh, look, here's Korchnoj. We talked about that last week. If you listened to watched the last ChessBase workshop, Victor Korchnoj. It's just spelled a little oddly in this database. But anyway, we've got a whole pile of games where Gary's black. 1,012 games, which is less than the previous 2,500 and some, right? Was it 2,503? Now it's 1,012. If we just go for his games as black, now we can whittle it down a little bit more. Because now we're going to look for all of his wins as black. Now we're going to go into a part of the search mask that we've not looked at yet, but you'll be able to actually learn a little bit more about it by following along. Garry Kasparov, ignore colors, all his games is black. Click that. 0-1, of course, is chess notation for black wins. So let's find all of his wins as black in the database. And we come up with 408. So we've gone from 2,503 to 1,012 to 408. Notice that each time we put more information, more criteria into the search mask, we come up with fewer games. We're not done yet, though. 408 games. We're going to go back in, and we're going to look for 1990 to 1995. Oh, that's a 6. That's still a 6. There we go. Sorry, I got a glare on my keyboard. 1990 to 1995. Garry Kasparov's wins as black during that 6-year period, 1990 to 1995. We click OK. We had 400 something a while ago, and now we have 88 games. So we've winnowed it down from over 2,500 games down to a mere 88, and we're not done yet. Got one more to do, I think. Even though I think I've illustrated the point, I do believe in flogging that dead horse. So you know what we're going to do now is we're going to do it by opening. Garry Kasparov's wins as black from 1990 to 1995 in the King's Indian Defense. E60 to E99. It already has E99 as a default. E60, of course, is the first ECO code of the King's Indian Defense. E99 is the last. I happen to know this. This isn't something you could just pop into in ChessBase and look it up. Actually, there is. If you have big or mega database, you can actually go into the opening keys, go into super key, and learn that. So actually, you can go into ChessBase and find that out, find the ECO code. But it's not like you just type in the word King's Indian Defense, there it is. You got to go look for it, but it's there. You can find it. You can use it. Anyway, this will be all of Garry Kasparov's black wins in the King's Indian Defense from 1990 to 1995. And what do we get? We had 88 games before. Now we've winnowed it down to a mere 33. And I think we might be able to go one more time here. Again, demonstrating that the more information, the more criteria you put in the search mask, the fewer the results that are returned. Let's go one more. And let's say players have to be rated 26. Now let's make it 2,700, because this may actually come up. No, I think it'll come up maybe one or two. 2,700 up for their ELO rating. By the way, that's ELO, not ELO. ELO was a band back in the 70s. ELO is a man's name, Dr. Arpad Elo, the guy that designed a rating system. So when someone says, what's your ELO? I just tell them I never got into that band. I'm sorry. We do a search, and now we got 4 games. So we went from 2,503 games down to a mere 4 by continuing to add material to the search mask. And if we wanted to whittle it down even more, if we put in just the year 1993 or just the year 1994 and did the same search, we'd get 1 game. Or if we wanted to do annotated games, and there's a way to do that as well. One of these games is annotated, this top one here from Linares, and that would be another way to whittle it down. So the more material, the more information that you look for, the more stuff you put into the search mask, the fewer games you get back. So keep that in mind. I call it the law of diminishing returns. Your very general searches, just to search for a player's name, will bring up a bunch of games. But if you can narrow that search by asking for more specific information, but you can narrow it down to a point where you get literally nothing. So you just have to be very careful to ask it what you want to find, and don't put in extra information that's extraneous. Don't put in extra, just don't be clicking on stuff just to throw in extra criteria to the search. Make sure that what you put in there is what you really want to get back out of the program, or you may get surprised, come to find out that there are no games that meet all of those criteria. Something I meant to do last week and I forgot to do, I will do this week. And that is this. We get emails, I shouldn't say we because I'm in the United States and my friends at ChessBase are in Germany. They get emails wanting to know, how do you get in touch with Steve? Well, and I do get some stuff forwarded to me. I'm going to tell you, I had an email address for a long time and I took it away, and I'll tell you why. Was because even though it specifically said no tech support questions, please, 95+% of the emails that I got were tech support questions. And then I would get these nasty comments. I'd get people writing back to me a second or third time about why won't I answer their question. And then they go on message boards and complain that Steve Lopez won't give me tech support when it's not my job to do tech support. There's other people that do tech support. I'm going to be brutally frank here. I have a full-time non-chess job, several part-time chess jobs, one of which is to do tech support for one specific chess-based vendor for their customers. But I don't have the time, and I'm not getting a big chunk of change to answer everybody's question from around the world all the time. So I just don't have time for it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I am going to provide you with an email address right now to get in touch with me. Okay, give me a second here, and I'll pull it up in a word processor where I type it all out. ChessBaseWorkshop@yahoo.com. Yahoo! That's where you want to write to me. But, as you see, no tech support questions. I left off the please this time to make it a little more vehement. If you're having a problem with your software, I'm sorry, write to the vendor that you purchased it from. If you want to know how to do a particular thing in the program, write to the vendor you purchased it from. The only reason I get an email address up here is this. We get people that want to write to me with suggestions for topics for videos or for comments on videos. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe one of the jokes wasn't that funny. Maybe one of the jokes was too funny. I don't know. Whatever people want to get in touch with me for that relates directly to these videos, that's the email address. You can write direct to me, but I will not answer technical support questions. And I absolutely will not answer emails, and I get 10 of them a week from people wanting a free activation code for their Fritz or ChessBase. Come on, man. Do you think we're stupid? I mean, seriously, do you actually write me that email and I don't answer it? I get a nasty email back about why I'm stingy and won't give you a free activation code? Grow up. Really. Anyway, if you want to write to me with comments about the videos, or, if you got any good dirty jokes, whatever, I don't care. If you want to write to me, that's the email address. Please, though, no tech support questions, okay? I can't answer them. You're better off writing to the people that you bought your software from, which in a couple cases may actually be me anyway, but write to the vendor from whom you purchased the software, and they can either answer your tech support questions or get you in touch with ChessBase in Germany for answers to your technical support questions and problems. Okay? Very simple. Anyway, that's it for ChessBase Workshop this time around. We're going to come back and look at the search mask again later, but for this week, that's it. Until we get together again next week, please have fun.